All right, folks. First broadcast of 2018. This is Retro Reload. I'm your host, DashV, solo today, so I got no co-host. I'm flying totally blind here, but I'm here to help you kick off 2018. So I want to start out by basically making sure that folks know where they can find us. You can find us at retro underscore podcast on Twitter. You can also highlight some of your tags for us to take notice to with hashtag RRPFTW, Retro Reload Podcast for the win. I want to basically start off by saying I am very grateful for all the viewers that we had and all the participants in the chat and on Twitter and on our Facebook throughout the year of 2017. You guys really, your energy in some of the podcasts and your questions and all that stuff, it really meant the world to us. And it actually drove some of the shows, directions that they went into. Thanks to some of you guys, I bought an Atari Jaguar, complete in box. So, and I have to say, honestly, it was not the worst decision of my life. It's actually a very underrated, overpriced, but underrated console. So, quite a few good games there. Um, I also want to go through some of my Christmas pickups. You guys saw already the Christmas crossover that we did with the folks from Our Parents' Basement a couple episodes back. You can still catch that in the backlog of videos if you haven't seen it already. So I'm not going to rehash those Christmas pickups, but I'm actually going to show you guys the Christmas pickups that I got from my wife. So we'll see how well she scores among the gamer girlfriends there. So uh, the first thing I want to start out with actually is kind of time sensitive. So I need to bring this one out very quickly. She got me this really nice Nintendo Game Boy mug, and okay, by itself, maybe all right, no big deal, right? And it's also interesting because the way the mug is designed, you actually have to drink it, you know, you actually have to drink it in the corners or you're going to spill all over yourself. So there is some logistics with the cup that are not desirable, but I want to show you there's nothing special in the cup. I got some nice honey vanilla chamomile tea packet in there, and then I've got a just a stirring spoon to be able to stir it around. But check out what happens when you add hot water to this cup. Now, hopefully I neither burn myself nor blow up my keyboard. Let's see what happens here. Please work. Please work. Please work. I'm waiting. I'm hoping that the water is hot enough. The water may not be hot enough anymore. Oh no, is the water not hot enough? Let me see here. I might be able to trick it. Does that work? No. Folks, I apologize. The water is not hot enough. But if the water is very, very hot, this water is still pretty warm, but it's not boiling like it was just before I launched the show. But if you pour boiling water into this cup, what actually happens is the Game Boy screen actually lights up green and gray, and you actually see Super Mario World on the Game Boy display all around. It's actually pretty cool. It's really neat. So I apologize that you're not able to see that. I'll try to pull off that magic trick a little bit closer to the show next time with much more, hot liquid there. So it kind of cooled down on me while I was starting up the show. The next thing that I got, which was pretty interesting. Oh, actually, you can see it right here. She got me a piranha plant. So, and it's posable. So that's kind of neat. So the piranha plant will go well with my Goomba and my toadstool there, and also with my Mario and Luigi plush, which I got. So, and those of you that know me, I've kind of developed this new tradition of each Christmas. I take the different Mario Nintendo themed plushes that I have, and I place them randomly throughout the tree, and I'll take one of them and make them the topper. So first it was just Mario atop the Christmas tree. This year it was Luigi atop the Christmas tree with Mario hidden in the branches somewhere else. The Goomba and Toadstool were also hidden in the branches somewhere. I didn't have the Piranha Plant yet, so all these guys will be buried in the tree next year. And I think I'll be using the Goomba as the tree topper. So it just adds a little bit of kind of gaming festiveness to the tree. So Will Tendo, thank you very much. Yes, the cup is incredible. I'm really bummed that it doesn't actually. Wait! Check it out. It's actually starting to light up. It took a little bit longer than I expected, but it is starting to light up. See that? Isn't that cool? Thank you, Mario. Oh, Daisy. Isn't that neat? And it does it all the way around too. Oh, you can see where I cooled it down a little bit by putting my finger on the screen. But isn't that awesome? Isn't that so cool? I think that's just the neatest thing ever. So, and then as you drink the water, right, the screen fades out until it's black again. So it's pretty neat. So I'm glad I got to show you guys that. I was really bummed that it wasn't working. It just takes a little while. You got to be patient. It's like the Game Boy, right? It goes slow, but it's worth it. So she also got me, I like to kind of like lay on the couch. The couch is pretty far away from the TV where I play the games. So I like to kind of like lay on the couch, chill out, and just kind of play. And so she got me some nice belt blankets here that I can kind of curl up in. So one of them is a Nintendo controller there. I thought that was pretty neat. So, and then another one that she got me, which was kind of pretty cool. She got me a Legend of Zelda gold cartridge. You can kind of see. So it's like a big giant Nintendo cartridge that you can just kind of cover yourself up with. So I thought that was kind of neat. So I told her, though, in the future, only get me one cool blanket a year, because the problem that I have is like they're both such neat blankets and they're both super comfortable that I can't decide which one to actually like cover up with. So I'll be laying on the couch and it's middle of winter, so the heat is already on, right? But I'm laying there under like two felt blankets because I can't decide which one, right, I want to wear and which one I want to like put away in the closet for later or something like that. So I end up wearing them both, which is way too much blankets. Don't need that many blankets. It's kind of obsessive, and it's all her fault. So she's making me decide. I can't decide. So that is really neat, isn't it? I just want to show that again. That is really neat. I just get such a kick out of it. I mean, the Game Boy Green, I don't know if it's really coming across on the camera, but the Game Boy Green is just spot on. I mean, it's like you're looking at an actual Game Boy screen. It's kind of neat. So there was one last thing. So she'd gotten me all that, and I thought, okay, cool. That's neat. That's enough. That's fine. But then she got me something else that just completely blew me away. One, because of the cost, and two, because like how do you even, like, this was a limited edition, limited run type thing, not limited run games, but limited run in general. Those of you who've seen in the past know I'm a fan of all game consoles, Xbox One included. And so folks are still trying to say really ridiculous things like Xbox One doesn't have any decent exclusives, but this is a more than decent exclusive, and this is a super cool, limited edition for an exclusive on Xbox. That's really pretty good. It is the Cuphead Don't Deal with the Devil vinyl soundtrack for the game. It is really, really neat. It's kind of in an old binder, and it's actually I think it's 4. Does it say on here? 4 LP vinyl soundtrack. So this is so cool. The only thing is I don't know if I can bring myself to open this, because this is like $100 right here. Like I can't even believe she thought I was worth that much money. So yeah, so I'm very appreciative of it. Super excited for this. Love the game, love the artwork of the game. It's definitely Nintendo hard, like Capcom Mega Man, level Nintendo hard. So I do have, as you can see, that old radio. Actually, the top flips up and it's a record player. So maybe one of these days I'll start up the show playing some Cuphead music, and then you'll know that I finally opened it. So my wife is a little, she's happy that I like it, but she's crushed that I'm not going to open it. So she always is bummed, like, I buy you these things and then you don't open them. And it's like, well, because I'm a collector. So do you have any cool things that have been really expensive that somebody got for you and you just couldn't, you really want to open it up, want to enjoy it, but you just can't bring yourself to do it? Drop me a message in the chat. I'm watching the live chat here. We'll be responding as I kind of see things there. So that was my Christmas pickups. Feel free, guys, share your Christmas pickups. You can share them on our Twitter feed. You can share them on our Facebook. You can share them in a video response. That's cool too, on YouTube, video response there. YouTube comments after the show, totally fine. What did you get that you're particularly excited about, particularly proud about? That's my stuff. So I want to go through a couple other things that are current and relevant, but not necessarily Christmas related. So now that I got the Christmas stuff out of the way there, I want to talk about this month's episode of Game Informer. They have a impressive spread of the Mega Man legacy, like not the game Mega Man Legacy, but the Mega Man Legacy, like in general, like all the different games and the history behind Mega Man, why it's been over 7 years since we've had a Mega Man game, and what it means for us to be seeing a new Mega Man game that's not being helmed by its original creator there. So personally, I'm psyched. I am super stoked. There were some really interesting things in this article. I don't want to give away all of them because it's easy enough to go into GameStop and get an issue of Game Informer, but I did want to kind of cover some of the highlights that maybe you guys weren't aware of. So they got a pretty good spread, some really good artwork here. This particular article was written by Ben Reeves. So Ben Reeves, good job. I appreciated the article. It's really nice. Maybe we'll have you on the show sometime if you're up for it. So what's really cool is they show you some of the artwork of the new upcoming Mega Man game there. There's some more artwork you can kind of see. So they're going with kind of like a faux 3D type look, but it's still a platformer. It's still a side scroller platformer. What's really interesting is how they do mention that they're not looking to totally reinvent Mega Man. So this is not going to be a reboot. This is going to be Mega Man 11, meaning, yes, enhanced graphics, enhanced sound, take advantage of modern, generation platform capabilities, but they're not looking to do a reboot. They want this to be very close to the original NES kind of play mechanics and timings. They realized that with some of the later releases, as they added different moves and different capabilities, in some ways it kind of detracted from the initial kind of playability. So they're looking to kind of to simplify, and they're sticking with the cutesy robot graphics and things like that. So I thought that was really cool. All the series staples, you're going to see Rush again, the dog. You're going to see Roll. So the other thing that I thought was really interesting was it's clear that these guys really have a love for Mega Man and they have a respect for Mega Man. The article talks a bit about how it was actually hard to find folks within Capcom, artists and designers and stuff, that were willing to work on the new game because they had such a reverence and respect for the Mega Man source material that a lot of them were just like, I don't know that I can do it justice. I don't know that I can touch that and make it better. And I really think that that's actually going to be a good thing for the game in the long run, that you have folks that have a reverence and a respect for the source material. It's been a requirement. The person who's helming it, I don't remember the name from the article, so you can read the article and find that out. But the person who's helming the Mega Man 11 required that anybody that joined his team play the original games. It doesn't say that he required them to beat the original games, but it did say that he required them to play it. So they've gotten a taste for the mechanics. They've gotten a taste for the graphics. They've gotten a taste for the flow of the games and stuff, which I think is a good thing. I think that if you're really going to do it justice, that you have to give it a playthrough. So really good article this month's Game Pro. If you haven't, or I'm sorry, Game Pro, Game Informer. If you haven't checked it out, you should definitely check it out. Another article that I thought was really, really good, and this is something that we have had on the show before, is there's an article by Brian Shea where he actually says that he tries to argue that that multiplayer is not dying, or I'm sorry, that multiplayer is not killing single player. And it's a really good article. I want to see if I can find the actual name of the article for you. Brian just has a really, really positive outlook. And it's not just wishful thinking either. Like, what I think is really interesting about Brian's take on this is that he actually gives some pretty good arguments for why his article says it all. It says single player isn't dying, it's evolving. And if you want to see what he means by that, I encourage you to read his article and catch it in his own words. He pulls no punches, admitting that multiplayer is definitely, becoming more forefront. It's driving a lot more sales. It's certainly garnering a lot more attention from a lot of the AAA, publishers and stuff. And it is in some ways squeezing out single player and narrative driven gaming. But that said, the narrative and single player story driven games that are actually surfacing through that, he argues are of a much higher caliber and much better quality, both in sophistication of the story and things like that, than what we've previously enjoyed. And so he argues that while yes, it's definitely harder than ever to make a single player story driven narrative, it's certainly not impossible, and it's certainly still worth it. A multiplayer game, oftentimes he says the microtransactions thing, they basically need it in order to survive. Because after a while, you're effectively playing the same game. You're getting the same weapons. You're taking out the same people. You're going on the same missions. So unless there is a steady flow of microtransaction-driven DLC or things like that, it's very difficult to keep the game fresh and to keep people engaged versus a single player story-driven game. If you've got a game that takes 80 to 100 hours to complete, you don't get the next chunk of story until you finish the current chunk of story. And so the game is kind of like, it unlocks as you kind of progress through, instead of you spending it all almost instantly and then having to kind of refill with new experiences. So Will Tendo says that he got Zelda chess for Christmas. You're not sure if that's expensive, but I am. It definitely does look nice unopened. I thought I saw one at Target on sale for $9, and I went to snatch it up. And then I noticed, no, it was Mario Checkers that was $9. Zelda Chess was $80 or $90. So that's a pretty expensive game. But when you look at the pieces and everything, they look very nice. They look very detailed, very high quality. So that's a really good pickup, Nintendo, or Will Tendo. Whoever got that for you, hang on to them. They're a keeper. So yeah, I think that Brian, back to the, is single player dead? No, it's evolving. I think that he's onto something, and I'm really glad that he wrote that article, because I was starting to kind of worry about that. Is single player dying out? Is it all going to be Call of Duty games and things like that in the future? And he's convinced me that it's not going to be. I will have to wait a bit longer for those gems to come through. Games like, I'm hoping Detroit Become Human, games like what we're already enjoying, Zelda Breath of the Wild, things like that. These games will still arrive, and there is still there's still a payoff to companies to be had to make the investment in these games, especially Zelda Breath of the Wild. It has a 102% attach rate. That's ridiculous. Like, more people own Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Switch than actually own a Switch. People are buying it ahead of time with the thought in their head that, hey, if I ever get a Switch, this is a game I'd like to play on the Switch. That's that's just amazing. That's not happening with Call of Duty. That's not happening with Madden. That's not happening with a lot of these other multiplayer games. So, single player gaming, still has reach, still has, a lore to a large body of people. And Brian argues that's not going away anytime soon. So I encourage you to go get this month's episode of Game Informer, read through it, check out those 2 articles. Really, really good. I'm looking forward to future articles this year from both these 2 folks. Will Tendo says, whoever got you that, hang on to them, they're a keeper. It was my mother. Well, you know what? You have got an awesome mom. So my mom, I got to tell you, my mom never got me Zelda chess. That didn't happen. I got like a Rite Aid mug or something, and it didn't light up with Game Boy screens either. I'm just kidding. I love you, Ma. I love you. So no, definitely, I have respect for moms. So make sure that your mom knows that you think that her gift was pretty cool. So that's it for Game Informer. There's plenty more in here. I just don't want to spoil the whole entire issue. I also really love the artwork. There's just so much Mega Man artwork in this month's Game Informer. It's really good. I just kind of like the look of that. So there was another thing I picked up. So I'm wearing one of the pickups, actually. I went shopping between Christmas and New Year's and picked up this really nice Doctor Who, shirt. I'm a fan of Doctor Who. I'm looking forward to the new Doctor. I saw the Christmas special. Saw him transform into the new Doctor. Of course, I saw her previously in the teaser and everything. But what do you guys think? Well, Tendo, have you seen? Are you into Doctor Who at all? Have you seen the new Doctor? He's a girl now, so that's going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of interesting directions that they can go with that. I think that'll help it resonate with a wider audience. Females already really kind of enjoyed the show, more so than some other sci-fi shows. So I think that this is a nice nod, to the fandom and the viewership. And I think that this will give some really interesting, things for them to kind of watch and, have a hero figure and that kind of thing. So that was kind of neat. This is more of the whole, I think it's meant to be more of the David Tennant or maybe Matt Smith, version of the Doctor there. But another blast from my past that I found when I was actually shopping, the same store that I got this shirt in, is I found this little miniature Space Invaders arcade cabinet, which I thought was really cool. Although I don't know who the hell thinks this could possibly be a keyring. Like, seriously, I would not wear this as a keyring. Like, what is the matter with you? But anyway, what is really cool though is it uses the original artwork, and it actually has, come on, you can do it. It actually has the arcade game on there. Isn't that cool? And you can actually play the arcade game. Pretty cool, huh? See how good I can do with this, playing it in reverse. Can I beat a stage? What do you guys think? Can I beat a stage like this? Oh, I didn't see. My thumb was in the way. Come on. Oh, I'm killing it. Oh, I just got blown up. Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm feeling good about this. Oh, I did not make it to my friends. I got a game over. But I thought that was pretty cool. And they have more than just this game. They have Miss Pac-Man, they have Pac-Man, they have Galaxian. I really hope that they come out with more of these. because this is just so neat. I think that's really, really cool. So, and these look good on display next to your, you know, next to your other collectibles and stuff like that. Well, Tendo says he's not into Doctor Who. He does not watch a lot of television shows. Better Call Saul is more my thing. Isn't that actually a prequel to Breaking Bad? I thought I read that somewhere. But yes, I heard that that's actually a very well rated show. So, yeah, so that was my really neat set of, I guess, self pickups. So, I also want to give you guys a warning here. Here's some really interesting DashV trivia. While going shopping for, like, I picked up the shirt because the shirt looked neat, and I picked up the arcade cabinet because I kind of wanted to pick up the arcade cabinet. But this is my random story of the week. I was shopping for some pants, and I like blue jeans, but what I don't like is that I'm kind of like an odd size for blue jeans. I'm a 31, 32, which is not like, I guess it's not a common size, at least not here in the Bay Area. So almost every single time, Walmart, Target, wherever I go, I cannot find pants in my size. I just can't find pants in my size. So either I get pants that are like, okay, I think these will kind of fit, and then they end up being too tight after they wash like once, or like, okay, I guess these fit, and then they end up being huge, right? And you can fit like 5 of me in the pants. So, so I decided, the hell with it. Like, I got pants right now that fit me decently. Like, I'm just gonna go look for that brand and look for that size of pants that I need, like, on Amazon, and I'll just order them, right? So I go into Amazon, and one of the first things I realize, I don't know if you guys know this, but Target and possibly the other stores, I didn't check them, but I did check Target. The pants that you get, the blue jeans, if you look on the back, they have a number. And so I tried looking on Amazon for that. I'm like, I'm going to get that exact number of pants. I'm going to get that exact, size and everything. So I could find the size easy enough, but I couldn't find the number. And so I'm looking, and finally I Google it, and I find out, oh, they make that number exclusively and specifically for Target. Okay, fine. So now I'm looking for other men's pants, same size, right? Regular fit, all this stuff. And I find two different pairs of pants. One of them is 503 and the other is 505. And I'm like, what the hell? What's 503, 505? Like, what's the difference? Folks, I'm going to warn you what 505 means. 505 means there ain't no zipper on the pants. It's all buttons. All buttons. So I have one pair of pants that's totally fine, regular, like put them on, zips, no problem, super easy, right? So, and I got another pair where, like, it takes me a half an hour to take care of my business because it's like it's like I'm in Area 51, like unlocking like a million different deadbolts on the door before I can finally get the cow out of the barn. It's like crazy. It's totally crazy. So if you're trying to buy pants online, the numbers, my friend, the numbers do matter. They do mean something. So I just want to share that with anybody that might be out there, buying pants online and be caught unawares, because I'm telling you, it's like a major inconvenience. Like, I seriously don't like these pants. It's a mess. It's a mess, my friends. It's a mess. So learn from your pal DashV. So the numbers mean something. Lost was right. The numbers mean something. And in this case, the numbers on these pants were bad. Definitely. Hurley, I should have listened to Hurley. Hurley called it. So you guys have any interesting stories about clothing or shopping or anything like that? Will, what about you? Anything where you kind of bought something that didn't quite meet up with your expectations there? He'll take a while to respond, but while he's getting to that, I want to actually throw out some other interesting things that I learned this week. So I learned that there are currently 96 games out in the Microsoft Store that are Xbox One X enhanced. I'm not talking about announced. I'm not talking about soon to be released. I'm talking about if you go to the Microsoft store, the Xbox store on the console right now and go to Xbox One X enhanced, there are 96 games that you can pick up for the Xbox One. The Xbox One X specifically. Anybody that's telling you there are no games enhanced for the Xbox One X, full of crap. There's quite a few. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I had to look. I had to look. There's so many articles still coming out talking about how they're unsure if the Xbox One X is worth it and if people should get it because they're not sure if the games are going to be there. And there's 100 announced, but we have to wait and see what's. There are over 150 announced, and almost 100 of those are available today. So anybody else that's trying to water that down, I don't know why they hate Microsoft, but it's completely unfounded. The Switch. I'm gonna get to Will Tendo's comment in a second. I did the same thing for the Switch, actually, because I was curious. I was curious how it's been less than a year for the Switch, right? It's been about 8 months, 9 months for the Switch. And I was curious how many games have actually come out for the Switch. And with the Xbox, I think it's interesting because there's a lot of games that come out digital only, that don't come out physical at all, and there are some games I think still that come out physically but not digitally. Very few, but I think they're still there. So you can't take the Xbox One X or Xbox One count and say that's the full count. But with Switch, you can pretty much go to their Nintendo Switch eShop and you can take the number there. If you go to recently released, and then you scroll to the bottom and you click Show All. Currently, it shows over. I think it was 350 plus games. So I don't remember the exact count. I can probably actually look it up. I have my Switch right here. But I was surprised. I was surprised to find that there's 350 plus games on the Switch, and yet I'm still having a really difficult time finding something to play. Yes, there's Zelda Breath of the Wild. Yes, there's Mario Galaxy. Both good games. Don't get me wrong; those are really good games. There's also really good, lesser known titles like Rive. There's also titles like I Am Setsuna and things like that. So there's some good things to be had on the Switch. Not to mention some of the more popular games. Retro City Rampage is on there. Doom is on there. Things like that. But just really surprised that of what's on there, a lot of when I look it up, a lot of the cheaper games, especially, um, folks check the reviews on some of these games. I mean, if it's something like Retro City Rampage, you're gonna be all right. Mario Galaxy, you're gonna be all right. If it's some game you haven't heard about before, definitely do yourself a favor and go look at the reviews because Nintendo, I feel personally, it sounds impressive that they have 350 games out for the Switch already. Over half of that is Neo Geo games. Good games, but Neo Geo games, right? So if you have SNK Classics Volume 1 or Volume 2 for the Wii, you probably already have most of these games already. And by the way, it's cheaper to get them in the Wii SNK Volume 1, Volume 2 packs than to pay $8 a piece on the Switch. But discounting the SNK games for a moment, a lot of the other games that are falling in the $4 to $14 range just aren't very good. Like if you read the reviews, they're really sloppy games, very poor performers on every platform that they've been on, not just the Switch specifically. But I'm hoping in 2018, I'm hoping that this year we really see developers stepping it up. I want to see Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and Collection 2, on the Nintendo Switch. I want to see Disney Afternoon on the Nintendo Switch. And I'd like to see some of the older games from the previous generation. I think Double Dragon Neon would be awesome to see on the Switch. That'd be really fun to play. I think DuckTales Remastered would be really nice to play. So I'm hopeful that the Switch gets a lot of new games. I'm looking forward to Octopath Traveler, which It looks like a really interesting RPG. It's by the makers of Bravely Default, so I think we can expect some really amazing things and out of the box things from those guys. But at the same time, I am hoping that we see some of the classics. I'm still wondering where the hell this virtual console is. I don't see it. So hopefully Nintendo, gives us some kind of word on that in the next Nintendo Direct. So Nintendo was saying he doesn't have any stories about clothes, but I did get Mario Monopoly from my older brother for Christmas. And guess what? It has Mario, Peach, Yoshi, and Donkey Kong, no Luigi. He then says, quote, Hasbro my ass. Obviously, a play on words for the company Hasbro, but certainly doesn't has Mario's bro. So I see what you did there, Wiltendo. That was pretty clever. So, and that is very disappointing, actually, to hear that Mario Monopoly doesn't have Luigi. That's just all kinds of wrong. All kinds of wrong. So I think when you have Donkey Kong in there, but not Luigi, that's just not right. Because they could have come up with like a Donkey Kong Country Monopoly, and I know where they're coming from. Okay, Donkey Kong, right, from the Mario originally appearing with Donkey Kong, etc. Okay, cool, but after he appeared with Donkey Kong, he appeared with Luigi. For 3 full games, he appeared with Luigi before he appeared with Yoshi. So that is pretty disappointing. He's just followed up. He says, apparently they do sell little figurines for the game, Luigi, Rosalina, etc., in GameStops and such, but it's still ridiculous he's not in the box to begin with. And there's only 4 pieces. Monopoly is supposed to have 6. Those are all really good points. So what you're saying is basically tabletop games now, microtransactions. Nice. So let's take what we don't like about the digital world and bring it into the physical world, shall we? So I'm not sure how I feel about that. And you can see my Game Boy has shut down. The waters have gone cold with this news of no Luigi out of the box in this Mario Monopoly. Although I have to say, speaking of board games that are based on video games, I don't have them right here to show off, but there is an Oregon Trail card game that is Target exclusive. That's really pretty fun. It's very brutal if you're going to play it. It doesn't really help if you're playing it with 6 people or 2 people. I've both lost and won the game with different amounts of people. It's very difficult. I think it's actually more difficult to win the card game than to win the actual computer game. The computer game is actually pretty simple, depending on how your luck pans out and the kind of choices that you make. But the card game is absolutely brutal. It is ridiculously brutal. But there's an expansion pack now for the Oregon Trail that actually allows you can play it standalone or you can use it as an expansion. When you go hunting, rather than just play a card that says you go hunting for food and get X amount and can only bring back Y, that actually it opens up a mini game now, and you can use the cards to determine what you actually get, whether or not you just waste all your bullets or whether or not you get mauled by a bear or whether or not you actually net 1,000 pounds of food but are only able to return with 20 pounds, whatever whatever the numbers are. So yeah, I really kind of enjoyed that. And what's really interesting is, unlike this other situation that you're talking about, Wiltendo, where like you buy the Monopoly game and it only comes with like enough pieces for 4 players. The Oregon Trail card game without the hunting mini game is entirely playable. It's totally playable. And it feels like a complete game without that expansion. So but it is kind of neat still that they provided an expansion for the hunting. So both of those are Target exclusive for the Oregon Trail game card games. You can only get those at Target. I think they're either $10 or $14, but it's definitely worth it if you're a fan of Oregon Trail. It's worth a pickup, and you'd have some fun playing with your friends and family, and trying to survive down the Oregon Trail. So that really gets me that Luigi isn't in there. That seem right to you, Chomper? Doesn't seem right to him. No siree. All right. So, Will, are there any games in particular that you're looking forward to this 2018? I got to tell you, a game I'm really looking forward to. It's going to surprise people because it's a PlayStation 4 game. No, it's not Shadow of the Colossus, although I did pre-order it. I'm actually really looking forward to Detroit Become Human. I really, really hope that comes out this year. Every single trailer that I've seen for that, I hope that the trailer is only showing me one millionth of the story because the trailers have been really powerful. So I'm going to be kind of upset if the trailer showed me the most powerful parts of the game. That'll be kind of a disappointment. But I am very, very much looking forward to that game. And I think the build up to that game and the excitement and enthusiasm that I have for that game, coupled with Brian's comments about single player evolving, I think those went together. If we weren't having solid games like Detroit Become Human coming out, and solid games like Quantum Break and things like that coming out, I'd really call into question his assessment. But I think he's spot on. So, well, Tendo says that his favorite board game is Risk. You know what? I'm gonna have to say, is it Risk? I'm trying. He asked me what my favorite board game is. I have to say, I think mine is also Risk, but I'm gonna modify it a little bit. As much as I enjoy the game Risk, the setup, the teardown, logistically, it's a very difficult game to play to completion, in a physical form factor. The counting of the armies, all that stuff, just the maintenance of things on the board just takes up so much time. I just remember those games playing those games taking days and days and having to take pictures of like the board and everything like that. Um, and just imagine when cameras weren't digital, right? Like you're taking literally like Polaroid pictures, right, of the board so that you can actually go back and look and see what's going on. So it was very expensive, both time and money wise, because Polaroid film was not cheap. But digital versions of Risk Factions in particular, I really wish that EA would resecure the rights to Risk, because Risk Factions to date is the best implementation of Risk I have ever played. I wish they'd done some different stuff with the multiplayer. It's complete bullshit that somebody else can quit the game and that counts as a loss for you if they quit. That doesn't make any sense. But other than that, I really thought that the game was really awesome. I wish that there had been more customizability. I wish that you could have made your own kind of maps and layouts and set up, some of your own objectives and stuff like that. I think that would have really helped the replayability. But the single player campaign of Risk was surprisingly entertaining. They had some pretty good animations and some pretty good tongue in cheek, very campy, humorous progression. And so they actually found a way to weave in why there's zombies and cats and robots and army people. And again, it's tongue in cheek, very campy, but they pulled it off. I thought it was really good. And then when you play it multiplayer, couch co-op multiplayer, it's easily the best implementation of Risk I've ever played. And unfortunately, it's been delisted and nobody can get it anymore. So sad face. No other digital version of Risk has ever really held a candle to Risk Factions. So kudos to the developers on that, and hopefully we're able to see it come back. So Will Tendo says Skyward Sword or HD? What do you mean by Skyward Sword or HD? What's HD? Shadow of the Colossus is one of those things that make me wish I had a PlayStation. Well, you can buy a PlayStation 2 and get it. You can buy a PlayStation 3 and get it. You can buy a PlayStation 4 now and get it. I know that you mean that you want the PlayStation 4 version, but here's my issue with Shadow of the Colossus. It looks amazing. I'm sure it's going to play just as well as the previous games, quirks and all. Although they are experimenting with a new control scheme. Here's what really disappointed me about the game. Sony makes all these statements about how people don't want to play their old games. They don't want to rehash old experiences. And then you have Japan Studios remaster the same game twice, literally less than like 5 years apart from each other. You've already remastered the game once and you remaster it again. I mean, yes, it looks amazing, but and then they boast about these really weird things, right? Like they're boasting about how like okay, slightly tweaked controller scheme, but we didn't add a single extra Colossus. You know what, Sony? Nobody has been sitting around going, hey, you know what? I'd love to have a Shadow of the Colossus remastered with absolutely no additional new content. Nobody has said that. Did you actually watch like all the YouTube playthroughs? Did you watch? There are people who have invested like hours, days, months of their life trying to explore every single nook and cranny of the map, getting every single trick, exploiting every single glitch, using every single cheat device to uncover every single pixel of that game for even the hint of an extra Colossus, an extra unseen texture, anything. There's always been myths about there being a 17th Colossus so that if you climb to the top of the tower, you can find. People took the demo disc because there was a demo disc of it. People actually took the demo disc and tried to do all these different tricks and stuff, and we're comparing like differences from the demo disc top of the tower to the release game top of the tower. There's all these rumors and lore about there being this way to unlock a 17th Colossi that, like Bigfoot, no one could ever seem to get a picture or a screenshot of. Like, personally, I'm disappointed that there's not additional content in the game. I'm grateful that there is going to be a PS Pro worthy game that has higher frame rates than the ones that we enjoyed, way higher textures, new gameplay, controller options for us to do. But I'm really disappointed if all the stuff that you're talking about is true about there literally being nothing additional. Like, why is that a feature? How does that get a bullet item? And absolutely no new content. How's that a feature? I'm totally so Will Tendo. I don't really know that you're missing much, my friend. I mean, so and he clarified. He didn't mean Skyward Sword or HD. He meant Skyward Sword HD remake, which he is convinced is coming out in 2018. So maybe you're right. I was thinking the other day, it would be so awesome if every single Legend of Zelda game, I'm talking all of them, like the Nintendo games, the Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, if all those games arrived, I want to see a Legend of Zelda anthology, right, release for the Switch. I know that's not going to happen. Like Nintendo's not going to bundle them all into one thing when they can charge you, $20 to $30 a pop for each one of them. So, but even then, I think to have them all on the Switch, portable and on the go, I think that'd be awesome, right? Zelda Wind Waker, HD, sure, right? Twilight Princess HD, sure. I'm game for that. Skyward Sword, bring it on. I'd love to see all these games. Not to mention Ocarina of Time, and Link to the Past. I think if they did Link to the Past, that'd be pretty epic. So, might get Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD ported to the Switch with the rest on Virtual Console. Maybe we'll see. I'm still wondering if there's even going to be a Virtual Console. What I'm worried about, and I've mentioned this before, what I'm worried about, Will Tendo, is I'm worried that Nintendo is going to go this subscription only route. I mean, they keep hinting to the fact that they're looking to do some kind of subscription based service, but they're not really giving a whole lot of details about this service. I mean, so far we've heard there'll be a subscription based thing where you'll get one game free for a month, and then at the end of the month, if you want to keep it, you have to buy it. But then we don't know, like, are you also paying for the subscription to get a game free for a month? And then if you want to keep it, you have to. So it's still very, very confusing. And while I'm not opposed to the idea of having something like an Xbox Game Pass or a PlayStation Now type thing. Um, the issue that I have with PlayStation Now is my Steam Link on a high-end Extreme Edition PC over a gigabit network still can't play my games back at 720 or 1080p with anything less than 30 milliseconds of display lag on top of my TV's own display lag. So that means basically 40 to 45 seconds of display lag. Um, that's unacceptable to me. That makes platformers like Mega Man and things like that just not even worth it. Um, so if that's on my local network with nobody in the way, I really find it hard to believe that PlayStation Now can provide a better experience over my, internet providers wires where everybody's competing for the bandwidth. So that's my issue with PlayStation Now, right? Paying for slower, laggier games that I know I'm not going to get as much enjoyment out of it as if I'm playing it local and native on the actual hardware. And then I guess the only issue that I have with the Xbox Games Pass and PS Now is this whole licensing thing, right? Like if it was the case that for as long as the service is around, I know that the library that's there is going to be the library that's there, I'd have no issue with it. But what happens when I'm like playing a game, let's say Final Fantasy or something like that, a game that takes like 80 hours to like complete. So I'm playing the game, right? I bought some DLC for it, maybe. I'm renting the game, but maybe I bought like one or two pieces of DLC. I'm playing the game. I get 60 hours in. I'm close to the end of the game. I got about 20 hours left. And suddenly they no longer have the license to have it as part of Game Pass or part of PS Now, so it gets delisted. That would really aggravate the hell out of me. And so because I know not only can that happen, I know that it will happen. I have a really difficult time investing versus if it was something where they could guarantee, right, that once it's part of the library, it's part of the library perpetually. As long as that system exists, right? As long as you have an Xbox One, they don't have to make it multi-generational, right? Like if they at least said, look, here's your subscription. As long as you have your subscription on the Xbox One and it's an Xbox One game and it's been available before, it will remain available for the duration of the service on that console. I'd be totally fine with it. But I'm just really nervous to be like, imagine Mega Man Legends, right? Right now I'm playing through Mega Man Legends. I bought it on um I bought it on Xbox One, the Microsoft shop there. And I think probably for the Microsoft shop, although I don't know this for sure, I think it's maybe more insulated than that because with the Game Pass, you're still downloading the game onto your hard drive. So I guess as long as you don't delete it, as long as you don't wipe out your hard drive, as long as you've downloaded it, even if they delist it, you can probably still play the game and finish it. It's just if you ever remove it, maybe you can't re-download it. I don't know. Versus PlayStation Now, if it's gone, it's gone. You're done, right? Any DLC that you got or any unlocks that you did, you kind of lost that. So, but I shouldn't. I guess my point is, I shouldn't have to invest my money first and then find out how temporary or permanent these things are. Like these things should be made very upfront, very clear, like what the rules are, what the terms are, and all that other stuff. And it shouldn't require me to read like this 18-page, manifesto in like a 3-point font to be able to tease all that information out of there. It should just be clear and straightforward. So, but back to your original point, I would love to see the Zelda games. I'd love to see the whole entire Zelda lineup on the Switch in some way that you can like add to your collection. So, and in terms of Shadow of the Colossus, I'm not really sure that you're missing out on much there. So, folks, I hope that you learned something about pants shopping. I hope that if you enjoyed these, you can check them out. They're available on Amazon. They're available at I actually picked it up. The store that I got this shirt and this keyring. This mini arcade machine that was kind of like a spiritual successor to Hot Topic. It's actually owned by the same company that owns Hot Topic. It's called Box Lunch. I don't have any stock in them or anything, but I did think that this was a really neat thing, and it looks great on display. So feel free to check that out. If you're a fan of Game Boy, this is a really awesome mug. Those that came in a little earlier saw you pour hot water into it, and the screen comes alive in all its green glory. So I hope that you had a happy holidays. I hope that you were able to spend it with friends and family, playing some good games, and having some good rest and relaxation. So next time, I'm hoping that we'll have some more co-hosts here and be able to show off kind of what they got, what they're looking forward to in 2018. The news week has been surprisingly good. This was a really good episode of Game Informer. So again, plug in there, Brian Shea, and friends have some really good articles in there. So it's worth a read. So maybe stop into your GameStop and pick one up. So until next time, so enjoy your games. And what do you think? Do you think Brian's right? Do you think multiplayer's evolve or single player's evolving? Do you think it's dying? Drop me some comments in the doodly doo. Do you enjoy pants with buttons? Comments in the doodly doo. Let me know. Meantime, take care.